Welcome into Trifecta Sports Talk. It is Thursday at 5:30, which means we're at McCoy Stadium for a show, or at least I'm at McCoy Stadium. Evan's in the sun somewhere. Does look like a nice day out, fortunately. How are you doing today, Evan?
Pretty good. I'm trying to soak up some sun before we get some snow on Saturday.
That's what I'm hearing. It's going to get a little chilly, a little bit colder. It might be historic snow for some parts of the Northeast, unfortunately. So maybe it's a good thing there isn't baseball going on this weekend.
Yeah, no kidding. Paw Sox are supposed to host the Knights this weekend, I believe it was.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the last pitch has been thrown out on the Paw Sox.
This season, yeah.
No, I think, and maybe in franchise history, we'll see what happens with Polar Park. But there is some Paw Sox news that just broke prior to us coming on. The Paw Sox announced that they're going to relive the greatest games in team history. They say a panel of experts and team employees selected 10 games to be featured in a documentary series. By documentary, they don't mean video. They don't have video going back that far. So it is going to be a podcast format with players. It's going to be Paw Sox broadcasters will be hosting it. They'll have team employees, executives, coaches, members of the media. There's probably only one member of the media I think that would actually have covered all those games. Even then, I don't know. There really isn't too many media members actually cover the Paw Sox anymore, but maybe back then there was a couple more. I can read off the 10 games. The longest game against Rochester, 1981, that's on there. Okay, I'll check box for that. You got two perfect games. You have Tomooko's in 2000 and Bronson Arroyo in 2003. Okay, I'll give you that. Opening of the new McCoy in 1999 against Rochester. I mean, I can see why you pick it, but we're talking greatest games. We're not talking about iconic moments. What do we got? Governor's Cup 1984 against at Maine, Game 5. Okay, I'll give you that. We got Governor's Cup 2012, Game 3. Okay. Syracuse clinched division off walk-off hit. Okay, 2013. 2014 Governor's Cup Finals at Durham, Game 4. I get it. David Ortiz homers in first rehab game. I don't get that. I mean, you could go back in history and you could pick Wade Boggs hitting 2 home runs, Jim Rice hitting 2 home runs, Fred Lynn hitting a home run. David Ortiz hitting a home run in a rehab game. Like, I understand it's David Ortiz. You're trying to move some tickets, but let's just tell it how it is, right? You have all these games 2000 to 2014, and you only have a couple games from the 20th century. And the reality is, prior to Ben Mondor taking on the team, the Paw Sox don't have any box scores, any records whatsoever as to what actually happened in any of those games. So Jim Rice, Fred Lynn, sorry, we're not including you in this one, guys. Like, Oil Can Boyd, nope. Roger, nothing. I mean, I don't get it. David Ortiz hitting a home run, like, oh, okay, like, great, good for him. He had over 500 of those.
I will say this: there's probably more people at that game than there was at the 2014, 2000. Actually, both of those are both on the road. There was probably more people at that David Ortiz game than any of the Governor's Cup Finals games in 2012 or 2014 or even 2013. Matter of fact, so that's something I could think of. You're gonna have maybe 10,500 people in the stands for those games. So it's probably the loudest McCoy's ever seen.
So this isn't McCoy. This is team history. So this is both road and home games. So it's. I just find it very hard to believe that David Ortiz hitting a home run in 2008 is a top 10 game in 50 years of games.
I would say
that's hard to believe.
We've talked about this game a lot, but that game last year against the Buffalo Bisons, where Shepard gave up 7 runs in the first inning, and the Paw Sox came back to win. I'd say that was probably a better game.
Or even the last game of the year with Cole Sturgeon hitting 3 home runs and walking off. That's a great game.
That was a great game. I had a lot of fun that day.
David Ortiz hitting a home run in 2008 in a rehab game. I don't know about that. If that's the only reason they're picking the game, then that's a bad reason. Oh boy. I understand like they're trying to pick stuff that they actually had box scores for. Prior to Ben Mondor, no box scores. So I kind of understand why. they didn't pick some of maybe the fringe games, or there was better games though in the last couple of years. I don't know. It's just pandering, really. That's all it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, was the day they opened up the new McCoy a great game? I don't know. It's just a moment in their history, but
Do you
I
know
don't
who
know.
won that game by any chance?
No, do they have the box score for it? I doubt it. I mean, are they going to sit there with the box scores? Like, I hardly doubt it. Like, so what are you going to ask Bryce Brents? 2014, what was that game like? Bryce, what was a game like in AAA baseball in 2014? Bronson Arroyo, how about your perfect game in 2003? Is that a highlight of your career? Probably not.
I'm sure
David
he's probably.
Ortiz, that home run he hit in 2008. Oh boy. You remember that thing? No. Iconic. Sorry. Iconic.
David Ortiz probably remembers him taking a metal bat out at Fenway trying to hit the red seat more than that home run. We're gonna be completely honest.
I mean, the longest game, I get it, but it's like it was a really awful game. Like I'm sure if you talk, they're gonna bring in Marty Barrett, and they're gonna talk to him, the former second baseman. But I'm sure if you bring him in, he's gonna be like, "Oh, that was the worst game of my career." No one wanted to be at that game. That was an awful game.
Because
it never ended.
Because the longest game, it was 1-0 Rochester going into the bottom of the ninth inning. Paw Sox score a run, and then no runs were scored for another 13 innings after that. It was a Saturday night in the middle of April. Conservatively, it was probably 40 degrees out. It was miserable at McCoy Stadium. I don't think anyone wanted to be there. I know a lot of fans that were at that game came out and have said, why did they stay at that game? And it was more because they didn't want to miss anything. But even then, that's just God, that just must have been miserable that night.
I would want no part of that game.
I mean, the final score was
top 10 game in team history.
3-2 in 33 innings. 5 runs were scored in 33 innings of baseball. I mean, face it, it was what? Oh, it was after midnight. Game didn't get suspended until 4 a.m. So it was after midnight at McCoy Stadium. Nobody was going to get a score run at that point. People were trying to hit the long ball to try to just get out of there at that point. Nobody was going to try to hit a base hit, try to hit a ball in the gap, and then another base hit to drive them in to get a run. That wasn't happening, even though something like that did happen the 18th inning.
Yeah, no, just odd. But I mean, I get it. You got to pick it for your top 10 games, I guess.
You do because it is definitely the most iconic.
Yeah, it's the one people know about.
It's as a whole, it was a terrible game. If you said the final score of that game was say 19-18, I'd be like, okay, that's a fun game.
Yeah, that'd be a weird game.
Yeah, because I know there was that game in Chicago between the Cubs and the Phillies. The final score was 23-22. That's one of the weirdest games of all time, but not 3-2.
Yeah, I do wonder. I mean, I think when you only have access to the Ben Mondor ownership in terms of box scores, that does kind of limit what you're going to pick, right? So It's not a shock that most of the games are in the 21st century, but I would just say you had 50 years of history with the ball club in Rhode Island, and it just looks really, really weird that most of the games are from 2000 on. I don't know. But there is some other Paw Sox news, I guess, on this day in history. I've been doing it every day. We've been doing on this day in history. We'll have another one tomorrow. But on this day in Paw Sox history, last year, the Paw Sox defeated the Norfolk Tides 5-1. Teddy Stankiewicz, 6 innings, 1 run, unearned on 4 base hits. Gorky Hernandez hit a home run. Jansen Woody went 3 for 4, 3 RBIs, and drew a walk. Some other moments in history: 2016, Marco Hernandez, Chris Marrero, and Jansen Woody went yard. 2015, Jackie Bradley hit a home run. 2013, Alfredo Aceves went 7 innings, allowing 2 runs on 9 base hits. We got Dice K in 2012 on a rehab, went 4 2/3 of scoreless baseball. Mark Melanson pitched in that game in relief. Daniel Nava went 2 for 4 and hit a home run in that game. LeVar Way went 3 for 3 in that game. Going back to 2010, you had home runs from Daniel Nava, Dusty Brown, and Josh Reddick. The Paw Sox defeated the Charlotte Knights 12-4. And then 2008, you had Alex Cora going 2 for 4 and a 12-7 win over the Durham Bulls. So that's another notable game. It's always crazy going back in the history and just sort of seeing who's, every day it feels like it's the same names popping up, having, great performances. Daniel Nava, Josh Reddick's had a lot of good games. Bryce Brents is another guy. Feels like every day I do it, or probably when you do it too, like you're seeing it's the same guys consistently perform year over year.
Yeah, that is one thing I have noticed. Like throughout the time period, it's like it's the same guys that are performing every day, and then on top of that, there's guys that I'm seeing. I'm like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, there's guys that shock you, and I think Alfredo Aceves actually started another game on May 7th at another point in time. I didn't write it down, but you get weird stuff like that too, where it's like Alfredo Aceves didn't pitch that long in Pawtucket. So
no, he didn't. I mean, another thing I've noticed is over the past couple of years, especially because we're doing it every day, and right now we're in April and May. Like I am shocked by how many rainouts there are. There are so many rainouts.
Yeah, I'm not shocked at all. I mean, I feel like 2 years ago, every day in April and May was rained out.
Yeah. It was. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. It felt like there was never a home game. And
it snowed like on opening day one year, so like I'm not shocked if stuff gets canceled and rained out.
That was probably the most aggravated I've ever been going to opening day.
Hey, I saw
going to the ballpark.
I saw a Revolution soccer game that day.
The next day, right?
Yeah, no, I think the Revs were that night. I remember one day it was snowing, and I ended up.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because you were supposed to. Yeah. Because I was supposed to stay at McCoy. You were supposed to go up to Gillette.
Yeah, we both went to McCoy. I think we did a show or something, and we did something together. And then
we did
I went
a
up
show.
to Gillette, and there was snow on the field at McCoy.
Yeah, we did a show, and after about a half hour, we found out that the game was called. Which, when we got there, I saw the snow in the field. We were both like, crap.
I did see a photo of McCoy Stadium from Ethan Shorey of the Valley Breeze the other day, and the grass looks great. It was freshly mowed. It looked perfect. So if they wanted to play a game at McCoy, they could. But that's not going to happen. There is baseball being played by a former member of the Pawtucket Red Sox. William Cuevas is one of the Red Sox players that is playing in the KBO. Cuevas left the organization after 2018. He posted a 3.39 ERA that year and 135 and a third innings pitch for the Paw Sox. He was one of the most consistent starters in that rotation. Was it him? And then you had Jalen Beeks too. Was a really good starter. That was actually a really good rotation if you think about it.
Yeah, also with that year, they had a lot of good pitchers in that rotation. Then even like Josh Smith, like not the righty, the lefty.
Yeah, Josh. Yep.
Yeah, and
he's great.
Yeah, Justin Haley, and then
yeah, I'm actually just looking it up now, just looking through the stats. So you had Chandler Shepard had a good year that year. It was his first year in the rotation, 3.89 ERA and 129 and 2/3. Justin Haley was solid. Josh D. Smith, 3.01 ERA. Jalen Beeks is obviously dynamite. Yeah, I mean that was a solid rotation. There's only like 3 pitchers, but yeah, it was solid rotation.
Yeah, I mean you lost Jalen Beeks halfway through the year, and then Haley and
spot starts. A lot of spot
Haley
starts.
And Cuevas run the shuttle a lot. But yeah.
Solid year. So Cuevas is with the KT Wiz. He has a 3.81 ERA and 189 innings pitched in the KBO and 31 starts. So it's a hefty load. Casey Kelly is another player, former first-round pick by the Red Sox in 2008. He was actually traded to the Padres in 2010. That was the deal that sent him, Anthony Rizzo, and Ray Fuentes to the Padres in exchange for Adrian Gonzalez. That trade turned out lovely for the Red Sox, obviously. But I don't know. I'd like Anthony Rizzo over Adrian Gonzalez in hindsight. But
right in hindsight, yeah. But at the time, I loved it.
Yeah, I guess. Kelly in a KBO, he started in 2019. He has a 2.55 ERA and 180 and third innings pitched. He plays for the LG Twins. We got another one over there too. It's Raul Alcantara, pitched for the Red Sox from 2010 to 2011. This is another player that was traded. This trade also worked out really, really bad for the Red Sox. They traded him along with Miles Head and Josh Reddick for Andrew Bailey and Ryan Sweeney. I think I'd rather have Josh Reddick. So he actually departed the States following the 2018 season as well. He pitches for the Doosan Bears, 4.03 ERA and 178 and two-thirds innings pitched. So those are two players that I don't really want back, but the players they went alongside in trade, I really want back.
The Josh Reddick trade. Yeah, the Josh Reddick trade at the time that I got it just because you lost Papelbon, you needed a closer, and Andrew Bailey was an effective closer for them.
Yeah, for the Oakland A's, for a team that never won anything.
True, but I mean,
it was like Joe Harahan. It was another shitty. Like, oh god, you trade for guys who never win anything. That's why Craig Kimbrell. Like, I don't think Kimbrell worked out either. I think he pissed his pants in the big moments. You pick guys who pitch for loser teams, and it never works out, in my opinion.
I mean, you do have to remember in 2017, that was Kimbrell's best year with the Red Sox.
They didn't win anything.
In that ninth inning against the Astros, the Red Sox were down by a run. He gave up a run, and then so they were down by 2 going to the bottom of the ninth inning, and then Devers hit the inside the park home run. It would have been the tying run, but
yeah, Kimbrell couldn't do. He couldn't inherit runners. He couldn't do more than an inning, so he couldn't come in the 8th. He couldn't get you more than 3 outs. Every big situation, it seemed like he failed. In 2018, you won the World Series because you had starters coming out of your bullpen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then you're screwed. And then your starting rotation was still zonked for 2019.
Yeah, because you overpitched him. I remember Cora talking about that prior to 2019, where he said like there's going to be an issue here because they got overworked. It ended up being a problem, but
you still won the World Series. So who cares?
No, you did. So you take 2019. You're not expecting to win the World Series. I think in 2019 you shouldn't even expect it to win the division. Just because you won the World Series, this is a hangover year. 2020 was where like in theory you should have rebounded, but
yeah, in theory.
Yeah, in theory. There is one more player with a Red Sox connection. Seong Song. He's played 13 years in the KBO. I think Siri's talking behind me. Yeah, she is. Oh, she is just talking about JD Martinez now. Second baseman, Dustin Pedroia. Yeah, she was just talking. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So Song was signed by Boston in 1999. He was in the Red Sox system until 2002. This is another player the Red Sox traded. This time he went to Montreal in exchange for Cliff Floyd. That's fine. That was a trade. I think they won. I don't know. He's pitched over 1,600 innings in the KBO. So, but yeah, I'm not going to watch KBO baseball. I know we just reviewed it, but I don't know. I can't watch baseball. It's on at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and I can't watch it on replay.
I'm not gonna stay up to 3 a.m. to watch a game, and you know what? I've watched games on a delay, but it's not the same.
No. Yeah, I think people will watch it, and people are watching it. I'm not gonna watch it personally.
Yeah, I mean, ESPN picking it up is definitely a win on their book, but
sure, they had to though.
Right, but I mean, I couldn't care less.
I could give a shit.
You know what? In my free time, I just started trying to watch The Sopranos again, so I'm gonna try to stick to that.
No, my dad started doing that too, actually.
Yeah, I started watching a couple years ago, and then I fell out of it because I didn't watch it for a little while, but I started again the other day.
So there is real baseball. Sorry, KBO, but the people that invented baseball have a plan, or at least a theory of a plan, right? So we saw this news from Jeff Passan come out last night. So I guess there's been players have been talked to by teams and agents and coaches basically to prepare for a spring training that would start in mid-June and the season that could start in early July. So this was a rumor. I think who was it? Trevor Plouffe, former infielder. He had the rumor initially, and there was some blue checkmark brigade that said this is false, but it turns out that that's actually kind of a true statement, because he said that June 10th potentially would be an early start to spring training, and then July 1st would be the potential opening day. This is a little bit different from a month ago, because if you remember, Evan, they were talking about building some type of super complex, right, where all the teams play out of a hub. No longer the case, because apparently that's logistically very, very difficult to build out that kind of infrastructure. So now they're talking about playing in home parks, which is also very, very tough to do. But they're talking about playing in home parks, and that seems very difficult. But apparently, it's the union is more receptive to that idea, because that means that players will actually be able to spend time with their families, which is a big part of it.
Yeah, the only thing about there's only two issues that I see with that.
They're huge issues.
What?
They're huge issues.
They are huge issues. Absolutely huge issues. Getting the teams from city to city. Now, granted, the part of that would be having basically the three divisions, where 10 teams are in each division. You basically only play your own division. Right. And to basically make it easier, you'd be playing all teams on the East Coast. So basically, the Red Sox would be playing every team in the AL East and NL East, and then swap out the Braves for the Pirates. But in those cities, you need to house these players, and you got to put them in hotels. And how do you know if these hotels are sterile for these players?
Or the buses you transport them in. Yeah.
What?
Or the buses you transport them in. Like when you get off the plane, because they're going to fly private. They get off the private jet. Who's driving the bus? Have the buses been sterilized? They go to the hotel. There's a hotel been sterilized? There's so many factors here, you know?
Right. I mean, granted, this is definitely best case scenario for the players, but it's just the logistical aspect of it, and just making sure that everything is sterile and clean for these players. That's going to be the biggest hurdle, because what if one player gets it and then infects an entire team? Granted, it might be a situation where the entire team has the antibodies, but say, what if the manager gets it? Then he doesn't, because they're older. Like,
well,
what if,
yeah.
What if Brian Bannister gets it and then he ends up getting deathly ill? Like, he's screwed now.
Yeah, so I would say also the other thing is what we're seeing now is states are starting to ease up on their restrictions, but they're doing it at all different stages. Every municipality is going to have a different order or different restrictions. So, like, I think at the end of the day, the money will talk, right? Where a state or a governor will bend to an organization like Major League Baseball, because there's millions and billions of dollars behind it. And at the end of the day, they're not going to want to. If the plan is safe and approved, I think stuff will be a little bit easier for them. But there's going to be municipalities that say, no, you can't do that. Someone's going to take a hard stance. So, like, say Boston, Charlie Baker says no. Marty Walsh will say yes because the guy loves sports. He's a big fan. But Charlie Baker says no, for example. What do you do? The Red Sox they can't play? Or do you say, okay, you're going to play out of Portland, or you're going to play out of Pawtucket? Maybe that's an option too. I would think also pick one hotel. Major League Baseball secure one hotel in every market and buy out the entire hotel. And that's the hotel the road team stay in. So that way, you're going in and you're bleaching the place after every team stays. Same thing with the bus. 2 buses a team, that's it. Drivers are all MLB employees. So everything has to be very, very controlled at this if they're going to do it like this. That's a lot. That's a lot to do. They're going to buy up 30 hotel, but like it has to be the same hotel, right? You have to limit the exposure somehow.
You do, and then on top of that, the teams need to try to make sure that they're able to safely get the players from location to location. And not every team is like the New England Patriots and has their own private jet. A lot of these charter flights
Major League Baseball, they'll have but they could charter one jet and say this is your charter for the entire year. Like Major League Baseball as a league has to set these rules and help out the teams.
Right. So now the issue is, do you try to get 30 jets, and those are the 30 jets that teams use the entire year? Because what happens a lot of cases for a lot of teams that are moving around, what will happen is these jets will be contracted out from say United Airlines or JetBlue.
So, but it's easy though now, because think about all the jets that are sitting in the tarmac, right? And even if they start to ease up on restrictions, there's still going to be excess jets because not everyone's going to start flying again, right? So there'll be an opportunity to partner with a JetBlue or a Delta Airlines or an American Airlines or whoever, right? To make some type of deal, an arrangement to make sure every team is covered. Red Sox are fine. These teams are fine. They have the money.
Right. So, all right, but I mean, it's still is going to be a logistical nightmare just trying to get those jets to begin with.
Yeah.
But you're saying it might be a lot easier because you just have so many goddamn jets that are just sitting around that
Correct.
you pay for the cost that you can have it.
These airlines are looking for a nickel. Well,
yeah.
I mean, they're looking for anything.
Yeah, I mean,
or they should be. They should be looking for any revenue stream. So I think there's a deal to be had there. But if you own a Major League Baseball team, you should have the means to acquire a private jet.
Yeah.
Just saying. You should have the means, especially with the TV contracts you have on the national side.
Yeah. Do you think aircraft is going to give the Boston Red Sox, aircraft?
No, the Red Sox, they get JetBlue charters. That is kind of weird that they don't have they get it as a charter for them still. That is kind of weird. But you think that'd be a selling point for some of these teams with free agents? Like you need to have your private jet, Yep. That isn't like it's like that in the NBA. Like that's a big deal for these players.
Yeah. I mean, another thing was Randy Levine, the president of the New York Yankees. He said on WFAN earlier today, there's a good possibility Yankees and Mets can play in their home ballparks this year. So if they look like they're able to play games in the epicenter of all this, that actually looks like it's pretty
Yeah, but what does this year mean? Does this year mean December? Like I don't know. That's the thing is like can you do it in July 1st? Can you have opening day at Yankee Stadium July 1st?
The only thing I saw was this year. So
yeah, I don't. That seems like a stretch to me. Like, but I'm all for it. I like this plan. There is a hiccup in here where Paston was basically saying that they still haven't worked out the money side of it because the owners want the players to take a cut because if you don't have fans in attendance, you can't expect the owners to pay the players the same rate. And the players, essentially, if there isn't games, they lose billions of dollars because they've already cut a deal with Major League Baseball to the fact that if they don't play any games in 2020, the players don't get any more money. So there's an incentive for the players to work out a deal here. They're going to have to take a cut. They're not going to get their full salary unless there is an opportunity here, I think, to rework your television deals. If you're MLB and you can get games up before the NHL or the NBA or MLS, if you can be the first American league back up and running, I'm sure there's some type of TV incentive there or some type of incentive to do that.
Oh, God, yeah. And opening, say July 1st comes around, Major League Baseball has its opening day. If they're the first sport to be back on, they're going to have ridiculously high ratings.
Yeah. Yeah, off the charts ratings. And you'll probably see ESPN do 24/7 MLB, It'll be interesting to see how they plan the schedule. And I think the one thing we haven't really seen here is what's their plan for the games? Are they going to do 9-inning games? Are they going to do double headers? Like we've seen some rumors of it where they would be doing 7-inning double headers, but nothing official. But I do like this idea of, hey, we're going to play our home ballpark because would you rather see a game on TV where they're playing at JetBlue or playing at Fenway Park? I mean, I would rather see Fenway Park.
I would think most fans out there would agree with that statement.
That being said, JetBlue is probably one of the nicest spring training facilities.
Yeah, those are one of the newest.
There's also a lot of really bad ones, a lot of really bad spring training facilities. Like the one with the Braves played at where the lights weren't even pointed at the field. The brand new facility the Braves just built where the light, it was one of the last games they actually played. And Jerry Remy was saying that the lights were literally like this above the field instead of pointing down at the field. So the lighting was awful.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Brand new ballpark. Yeah. And they built.
I mean, they move out of Disney, and then they open up this brand new ballpark. They don't even get through the entire spring training. And
they can't even point the lights in the right direction.
Oh God.
But
wasn't the last Red Sox spring training game at that stadium?
Yeah, it was on Nesson. Yeah, Mike Monaco and Jerry Remy. That's how it's still in my mind. I usually would not keep that, but that's the last live baseball I watched, so it's fresh in there.
Yeah.
Oh God, this spring training though, it seems they're talking June 10th and July 1st, so they're thinking they need about 3 weeks, right? About 3 week turnaround. That seems a little quick. That seems a little quick to me.
The only thing is you did have that. You did have basically a spring training to the point where most pitchers were about halfway there. So, assuming that they were still in somewhat good of a shape.
Yeah, that's the trick. Some of them probably aren't.
It was still by the time June 10th comes around, it's still 3 months.
Pablo Sandoval can do in a couple months. Oh yeah, I mean the amount of weight that guy could gain in 2 months, boy.
Yeah,
it'll take years to work that off. He'll never recover from it.
Yeah,
all those ice cream sundaes.
No, my favorite Pablo Sandoval story is apparently when he was on the bench, he used to be drinking Coke.
Yeah, he used to be on Instagram too. Yeah, what a guy. What a character.
Yeah.
So there is a league that is close to return. This is a major sports league out of Germany, the Bundesliga. It's the top tier soccer league in Germany. Germany has sort of been like, I would say, a leader in this pandemic in terms of testing, in terms of government response, and how they've handled it. And we've heard this for basically a month and a half that Bundesliga was going to come back. And people were very skeptical about it, but they got a key government approval where Angela Merkel gave the okay for Bundesliga to actually return. And this is a humongous deal because this isn't some small-time league like the KBO. This is a top European powerhouse. This is, the NFL. This is, Major League Baseball, NBA. This is a top-tier league with a major American rights deal with Fox. So they're coming back May 16th. Next weekend, you can watch Bundesliga on Fox. I mean, I'm excited. I'm pumped. Like, you have no idea. And real live sports are returning.
Yeah, we're going to get live sports. That's the key word. Live.
A top-tier league, too. This isn't some, minor league Korean soccer or KBO. This is top-tier stuff. This is top athletes.
Yeah, you also have to remember the KBO is, I think, isn't on the same level as AAA baseball.
Yeah,
I think it's actually a little bit lower.
I would say it's a little bit higher because if you look at William Cuevas, right, what he did in 2018, he took a step back in 20. Like, it's a different league though. Players are asked to do different things.
Yeah, it's a different ball.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. I would say it's close to AAA baseball, but it's different though.
Yeah, I think like the level of talent, they rate it like just a tad below AAA because it goes MLB, NPO, the Japanese league. Then I think it goes AAA and then the KBO.
But if you're a minor league free agent, you can almost make more money in the KBO. You usually can. Like, some of these guys get paid like $100,000. Like, Cuevas couldn't get $100,000 here, but over there he does. So
probably it must be a little bit more than that, actually.
Yeah. No. But yeah, so it's a little bit different. I would say it's a step above AAA just because the compensation's better. And the fans there's more fans that care, really. No one cares about AAA baseball. Not really.
The AAA teams do.
No, they don't even really care. They just care what rehabbers you're sending them and what prospects. They don't care.
Yeah, I mean, people love it when
tickets.
You get, a designated hitter who is borderline Hall of Famer coming in.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Let's not kid ourselves here. Most clutch hitter of all time. So the Bundesliga is coming back. So we got, what is it, 9:30 a.m. Is that right? 9:30 a.m. Saturday. You have Borussia Dortmund taking on FC Schalke. So we can look at the table right here. Bayern Munich is the top tier side right now in the Bundesliga. They have 55 points and 25 matches played. So this is the 26th match day of the season. So, we're pretty deep into their year. In a lot of these European leagues, they only have a couple matches left. There's no playoffs here. So you're going for being the top team, and then at the bottom you're trying to avoid relegation, which is the fun of European sports and soccer really around the world, is the fact that if you're an awful team, you get relegated. There's no tanking for draft picks here. There's no drafts. it's the greatest thing in the world because you can have an entertainment in the last game of the year where you have to win and you're the worst team in the league. And if you lose, you go down to the second tier, in which is millions of dollars in television revenue flushed down the drain. So it's exciting. I'm excited. And Evan's probably wondering, who the hell do I watch? Who am I looking for? Is that correct, Evan?
Pretty much.
So there's a lot of United States soccer players playing in the Bundesliga. In fact, there was a former Rhode Islander, Michael Parkhurst. He's a United States men's national team legend. He played in the Bundesliga, only 2 games, but he was a Bundesliga player at one point. So we've seen a lot of the top talent in the United States go overseas, either play in the Premier League or the Bundesliga. Christian Pulisic played in the Bundesliga before he went to the Premier League. So you got Weston McKennie. He's playing at 9:30. He plays for Schalke. Gio Reyna with Borussia Dortmund, who actually just signed a massive extension there. So that's a player to watch. Tyler Adams, Zach Steffen, Josh Sargent, John Brooks, Fabian Johnson, Timothy Chandler, Alfredo Morales, Brady Scott, and Chris Richards. So there's a whole slew of Americans playing in the Bundesliga. If you're just going on like, hey, I just want to watch Americans play, you have 2 on Fortuna Dusseldorf. Although Zach Steffen, the goalkeeper, is injured. He's on loan from Man City. Personally, I want to watch the dogfight on the bottom because we don't get that here. We don't get that relegation fear, right? If you're the worst team in the AL, you're not getting relegated to AAA baseball. And if the Paw Sox win the Governor's Cup, they're not getting promoted to Major League Baseball. So for me, it's this bottom tier. So I'm actually going to look. Josh Sargent plays for Werder Bremen. They have 18 points. They're the 17th ranked team. They're in the relegation zone. So, that's a team that needs to win to move up. They're 4 points behind last spot, Fortuna Dusseldorf. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the relegation fight. That's where my interest lies because I think it's just different. And if I were you, Evan, I'd probably pick and choose a couple different games, but I'm looking for that fight at the bottom. That's where my
that fight
lies.
at the bottom does sound interesting because it's not a fight. It's not just a game that could just be just a really bad soccer game. That's a game with millions of dollars on the line, and I think that's a lot more interesting.
And the fans care, and if they lose, the loser is it's embarrassing. Like it. So I find it more entertaining than the top teams in the tier, like in the flight. You do want to, who wins the Bundesliga? So but if you look at the current standings, Bayern Munich has a 4-point advantage on Borussia Dortmund. So there's a chance, right, that they get upseeded there, but Bayern Munich probably has it at this point. They have a plus 47 goal differential, which is insane. So yeah, I'm looking for that fight at the bottom because we just don't get that here. You get the teams that tank, and I hate tanking teams. That's why I hate the NBA.
Right, you don't want to watch. You don't want to watch a 12-64 Charlotte Hornet play a late March game.
No, but if they don't win this game against the Phoenix Suns, for example, they get relegated to the G League. That's fun because that's a huge hit. You get owners all the time that buy into teams and they get relegated, and it's a catastrophic hit to the franchise value. And the same thing, you get some owners who will invest in a team that's second tier and try to infuse some money into them because at the end, if they get bumped up, talking about return on investment off the charts, it's different over there. It's a different beast. Our system here for soccer was not built properly. I don't know, the relegation and promotion is pretty capitalistic, but our system over here, it's corrupted. It's not really capitalistic. You should be able to be promoted if you're the best, right? I don't know. It adds fun to the last couple of games of the year. So that's where we're at in the table, really. We're at the end of their season. So, that's what I'm looking at. I'll probably be watching it all Sunday, all Saturday and Sunday. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on Saturday, and then they got 2 on Sunday, and then 1 on Monday. Um, looks like I lost Evan for a second. Ever you back?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got some interesting games here. You got 9:30 in the morning and you got 12:30. And then on Monday you have, I think it was that 2:30. You have a 2:30 start. So, and they're playing in their home stadiums too, which I think this will really be a real test of can a top tier come back and how can they do it. And I think if you're the NFL, if you're the NBA, the NHL, MLB, if you're any league over here, MLS, you look at them and see, okay, how did they do it and was it successful? So this is a real test right here.
No, it absolutely is, because at the end of the day, the biggest issue that a player is going to have is a player safety. And if you're a player, especially, like with Major League Baseball and everything seemingly happen pretty quickly with that, if they're able to try to keep them safe. Now, granted, they're not moving nearly as far for a match than they are in the United States. It definitely makes you feel a little bit more comfortable possibly playing an away game.
The United States is awful for travel compared to the European leagues.
Yeah.
The space between teams is ridiculous. I know there's a lot of MLS players who complain that they come over from the Premier League and they come to the United States and the travel is just ridiculous. So I think Major League Baseball is going to have to try to regionalize it. I think all the leagues are going to try to regionalize it. The problem I see is with the NHL and the NBA is they're so far into their season where it's this is really for the finals, right? This is really what they're trying to get back is just the finals and a couple warm-up games. So that's tough to regionalize. Like you can't really play in all these home arenas because you can't really condense the schedule. So those leagues feel like they have to be in some type of hub. Disney World for the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue with that is it's looking like Disney World may open up on June 1st. So if that opens up on June 1st, you're going to start bringing a lot more people in there. Now,
that's not a good idea.
Granted, you could just take off a hotel offline and then keep them offline and then keep the worldwide sports offline because that's what the games would be. But you could do something like that. But, I mean,
right now... Do you think people are going to flock to Disney World?
What they're probably going to end up doing
is... When they open too early?
They are going to be opening too early, but what it's probably going to end up being is it's going to be only in-state... it's probably going to be only open to Florida residents, and it's going to be only open to guests on property. So they're going to be holding attendance at, say, the Magic Kingdom, which has a capacity of 100,000, out 20,000.
But can you imagine, everything in a park that gets touched? There's so many high-touch surface areas on the rides and everything. And what do you clean the rides every time someone goes in? Even with temperature. To me, it just feels like the parks are a logistical nightmare to keep clean.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't clean Space Mountain after every use, can you?
What you would probably have to do is you probably have to. I'm trying to think because I don't think you would be able to take a car offline for say 10 minutes while
you're running an inherent risk going to these places.
Oh, you absolutely are.
You're not 6 feet distance on Space Mountain, unless they space out the cars. Maybe I don't know how you do it. There's no way to properly do this.
Yeah. Now Shanghai Disney opens up on the 11th, so that gives
them a test for them. Yeah,
it is a test for them. So
that market's so different. Sorry,
it is.
The Chinese market is not like the United States market whatsoever in terms of consumer responses So it might not be a very good parameter for them to look at, actually.
No, but it is definitely a start. But they're probably only going to be opening 3 of the parks. They're probably going to keep Epcot offline, but
yeah, because that's undergoing renovations, though.
Pretty much, and the big thing for Disney right now is trying to make sure everything is all set for the 50th anniversary next year. But
I just don't think you want to be how bad would it be for Disney's reputation if people are going to their park and they're getting sick?
Right,
that's detrimental.
Yeah, right now, from what I've heard, is that they're looking at June 1st as the launch date for opening back up.
If they can open up June 1st and we don't have sports, that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't, but that's what I've heard.
Florida doesn't care. Florida just...
No, they don't.
They really don't care.
They don't. They don't.
They're
The
getting
thing is,
there.
well, I mean, another big thing is that their own Lake Buena Vista, I can't
Buena Vista, yeah.
Buena Vista, yeah.
Buena
They're
Vista.
their own municipality, and that's Disney owned. So basically, they own the rules. So they basically tell Florida when we're opening up. So
Yeah, if people go, that's the whole other side of it, is how quickly do consumers feel confident in coming back. So I think,
now, granted, it may just be like Downtown Disney that opens up, or Disney Springs opens up. If Disney Springs opens up, then it will. It's just like restaurants and shops. So
they could open up the parks and just let people sort of walk the parks. They could charge people to come in just to walk the park.
at that point, it'd just be Florida residents then.
Yeah, I mean, you could have your restaurants open at a certain capacity, outdoor seating. Like, there's some things they could do. I think opening the parks and like riding Space Mountain, that feels, I don't know, that feels like a tough sell. But
They may not. They may just keep Space Mountain offline,
like all the rides are so high touch for the most part.
pretty much.
Yeah, that's tough. But yeah, how are you gonna do? It's a small world.
Actually,
Yeah,
it's a small world.
one
Actually,
person
not
a
for nothing.
cart, spaced
The only
out. I
thing
don't
is,
know.
it's a small world. It's such a slow ride. You would actually be able to, once a party gets in, you take that bot offline as it goes through, and then somebody during that ride cleans the car.
Yeah, do you have enough personnel to do that and enough like product to do that? Like enough bleach? I don't know.
That's
a
another
lot.
thing.
That's a lot. I have a feeling they're not going to be doing that.
That's the thing. Granted, I don't think it's going to be June 1st, but that's the date that I've heard.
Yeah, we'll see. They're cash strapped right now, and they're in some big trouble. So
That'd be the reason why. And
Yeah.
that might be one of the reasons why having the NBA play at the Wild World of Sports
that's a good
finish off
idea.
their seasons would be a good idea. And then you could just have them all have the entire league just staying at Coronado Springs, which is like a 5-minute bus ride from the World of Sports. And it's just in the Coronado Springs is basically a huge complex to begin with. So you could keep everyone spread apart.
Yep. We do have something opening up, or at least starting in a couple weeks on May 24th at 3 p.m. The Match version 2 is going to be coming to TNT, TBS, and True TV at the Medalist Golf Club in Hobe Sound, Florida. So you have Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning going up against Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. They're playing best ball on the front in a modified alternate shot format on the back nine. There'll be on the course challenges, so it's all for charity. Apparently, they'll collectively make a donation of $10 million. So this is something we've been hearing about for a while, right? So we finally got a date, May 24th. This will probably be the first. I don't want to say major because I think UFC is playing this weekend, but it'll be a big day for American sports.
Absolutely.
Because it's ahead of the PGA starting back up. It's ahead of everything for the most part. So it'll be a big event. Now this is a little interesting, though, because this is actually Tiger Woods' course. He lives off the course. This is his home course that he plays at. So he's going to win. His team's going to smash Brady and Mickelson because Tiger Woods plays this course every day.
Yeah.
I mean, this match is already over.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing, when I heard that date, the first thing that came to my mind is that's Sunday Memorial Day weekend, which would be perfect for just overall morale because it is something for a lot of people to watch because you can't go outside and you can't go out in public and do stuff. So, if you're stuck at home, not being able to, go to, like, say, the beach or, like, last year, I went to an amusement park that weekend. Like, you can't do something like that. Like, going to, sitting at home watching Phil, Tiger, Brady, Peyton Manning, like, that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, so what was nice about the first match is you saw some banter between Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson when the pressure was off. When the pressure was on at the end and they had a playoff, they stopped talking as much. But I do want to see the Brady-Peyton chemistry and all that. So I wonder, how close will it actually be together to talk, or will they be social distance in their own golf carts? So we won't really get that interaction or, that's part of it, right? The reason to watch it. But, this will be a mega event. The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary, it's been 5+ million for every episode. This thing will smash it.
Oh God, yeah.
This would be huge. and it's going to be in prime time, right? The afternoon, and yeah, it could be really interesting to watch. But that being said, if it's a really nice Saturday and states have eased up on social distancing restrictions,
Sunday.
and Sunday, maybe it's not as big as you think, but I'll watch it. We'll see.
Yeah, the most that I'm thinking I'm probably going to end up doing is just watching it at my dad's, and the only thing that's going to happen over there is we'll have back door open and grilling outside. Maybe we'll put the TV out there. Yeah, if it's nice. If it's nice. This weekend we might be getting 6 inches of snow. So
stop. We're not going to.
It looks like it's gonna not get that cold enough, or at least in Rhode Island.
This is like one of the more positive shows that we've had in a while in terms of stuff occurring where sports is on the return. We're actually talking about hard dates at this point. Like Bundesliga plays next Saturday. That's official. We have this golf thing. That's official. MLB has plans. NBA, NHL have been kind of quiet. We're going to have next week, we're going to be talking about the NFL schedule. It's going to be released shortly after this show ends. You'll have the NFL schedule come out. So we'll have the Patriots schedule. Will there be fans in attendance? I don't know, but I don't know. Evan doesn't know either. But yeah, probably not.
I never said no. I said I doubt it.
Yeah, but you'll have Disney World wide open.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. But in Florida, they'll probably let 100,000 people just congregate in a stadium. No problem. Alabama's going to have football this year, whether or not the rest of college football has it or not. I don't know, but Alabama will play football. It'll be Alabama, Florida, and Florida State.
Alabama,
we'll just
LSU.
play each other. LSU will play too somehow. Yeah.
Alabama, LSU. The thing is, that's in game. That's not that's not in Alabama this year. That's in at LSU this year. So
yeah. All right. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully with more good news. Maybe with some Paw Sox news about their season. I doubt it. That season's not going to happen, but I think I'm going to start digging into Worcester and see where Polo Park really is at, and see. Maybe we'll start speculating about where they could play next year as well. So thanks for joining us. Make sure to check out TrifectaNetworkSports.com. Follow us on Twitter at TrifectaRI and on Facebook at Trifecta Sports. And make sure to check back next week at 5:30 on Thursday. Thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody, and stay safe.